Hello, good morning. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tara Lorimer, and I am a property manager, the owner of Luxury Getaways up in the Pacific Northwest. I'm in Washington State. And this morning, I would like to welcome Chris Walker, CEO of Direct Booking Tools, who's going to join us today with our education series. And we are here to talk about a direct booking strategy and how important that is. Welcome, everyone. We are presenting from VR Nation. We are a regional association established in 2011 up in the Pacific Northwest. And then last year, we recently rebranded to be a nationwide association. We welcome property managers of all sizes. We consist of 6 advisory boards. Our board of directors is comprised of all property managers from across the nation. And we do many live and in-person events, from webinars like this to roadshows across the country and our large annual conference. So welcome, everyone. Let's get started. Chris, how are you?
Hey, good to see you, Tara. Thank you for having me. I'm wonderful. It's great to be here. Great to be part of the group. Great association you got going on here, and we're excited for the future of VR Nation, and happy to be a part of it.
Thank you. Yeah, and you're in Florida?
No, I'm in Hilton Head, South Carolina, where I too actually own a property management company as well. Have been in the business for 17 years now with a property management company. Which has brought us to where we are today with the new technology company and the tools that we bring to the industry. We're very excited about.
Awesome. So coming from a property manager, it should be some pretty good information. I'd love to hear. You can teach an old dog new tricks. I learned a couple things from you yesterday.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's about it's not one thing that makes a difference in your business. It's a lot of little things that make a big difference. What we start with, we were very intrigued by Key Data's end of year report in December, and we took a look at this as a national overlook of where the booking sources were and what that meant for the industry. And so we took some time and actually extrapolated out these numbers to see what those effects really were. It's interesting to see that only 29% of bookings are happening on the property managers' websites, that the other 71% are happening on the OTAs. But an interesting fact about that is the ADR is higher when people book direct. The length of stay is longer when they book direct. And the average booking window is further out when they book direct. So what does all that mean? And we'll break that down here today so that we actually see how those numbers translate out into real hard facts for each of us to really understand why direct bookings are more valuable. But the first question is why are 71% of people booking on the OTAs? Well, we asked that question. We sort of interviewed a lot of people. We've seen tons of websites. And these are some of the things that we found that are kind of sticking out why people are not converting on their websites. They have lack of confidence in the ability for to perform. So you don't really state what a great professional management company you are on your websites. Of course, you don't have the market penetration of the OTAs, but there's some ways around that as well. A lot of you don't have customer reviews on your websites, which builds trust. You lack the security and trust points as far as payment processing and things like that. Of course, you have less inventory for sure. But a lot of people don't have convincing propositions why they need to book direct. And because of the OTAs and all their marketing, their billions of dollars spent, it's just perceived that they're the place to go to and that actually the property managers are more expensive. It's just perception. And so it leads into why the OTAs, because of the billions they spent, they have a perceived trustworthiness. They obviously have a strong market presence. They certainly do. Ton of reviews. Reviews are huge on the OTAs. They have these booked with confidence policies that they put out there. They obviously cover most of the inventory, and they spend billions of dollars to reach those clients. And so in that case, we as property managers, we're kind of spent out of the market. However, that doesn't mean all is lost. Obviously, with my own company going from 23% direct bookings to 70% now, there are ways to get around that and actually make these platforms work for you and using them as a marketing platform that they are to your advantage. Um, so when people spend more per night, stay longer, and book further in advance, what does that really mean to your company's bottom line, or the dollars and cents? So we took that in the end of year report, and we extrapolated this out for, say, 100-unit company that does about 30 reservations a year with an average rent of about $1,800 per rental. So we extrapolated out the 8%, 21% on the various OTAs, and pulled those numbers out to see how effective, or what effect that has on a company. So in this particular scenario, using the national averages, a company is going to do close to $4 million. We're averaging 20% commission. Company's going to make $782,000. It is not a bad income. I mean, that's not a terrible situation to be in, and it's a pretty good business for someone. However, if you can raise this up to 60% direct bookings, look at the difference in the numbers. It's just powerful to see how much of a lift it is to your business when you switch from 29% to 60% direct bookings. That's a 31% lift. What does that really mean? That means an extra $150,000 for your company. And you haven't done anything. You still have the same 100 units doing 30 reservations a year, but now they're staying with you longer. They're spending more while they're here. And when they do, that's correlating into real bottom line revenue for your company. I don't know if anybody's ever looked at it like this. We thought it was quite fascinating to see these numbers extrapolated out. And we spent a lot of hours doing all this data to figure out what it really means to book direct, and how impactful it is. Besides just the revenue on the rental side, there's also other aspects that we'll go through as well, and how this is impacting the bottom lines for property managers as well. So I guess the question becomes, how can you improve your own direct bookings, right? And, we've worked hard on it for my own company. Again, 3 years ago, I was at 23% direct bookings, and today I'm at 70. It's because I've worked hard in these various aspects to show the consumer. Obviously, the first one is our own little product here. It's the price comparison tool. We go out and we get the actual price for the same dates on the OTAs that you distribute that property out to, and we bring that information back and display it right on your website for your consumer to see. So this is massively impactful. It builds trust. It stops the shopping. It keeps people on your website. It increases your conversion rates on your website tremendously. You'll see down the line that the industry average is 0.32%. We're at now 1.2% conversion rate. And we'll talk a little bit more about conversion rate as well in a minute, because a lot of people don't track that. And it's a very impactful metric that people should be tracking. So this is the price comparison tool. Again, lives directly on your website and fires every time that a price quote is generated. And these are real-time prices out the door, total pricing with you and the OTAs. In developing that product, we developed another product, in realizing that cart abandonment was a huge thing in the industry. That we have an 80% cart abandonment rate in our industry, which is massive. So we're losing people. We're spending all this money to get them to your website. They're not converting. You're losing them on the checkout. We created what's called the checkout tool, Cart Saver tool. And it shows what the differential is from the next lowest, next highest priced OTA compared to your own price. Shows that to the consumer. We're also reinforcing your brand in this messaging as well. And we do offer for upsells, and one of them that works very well is to upsell travel insurance. In this particular case, in this particular instance, the travel insurance may cost the consumer like $200. They'll go buy the travel insurance and still perceive that they saved $240 by booking direct. So travel insurance sales goes up because of this particular product as well. It's been very interesting to watch the dynamics of both of these products and how they're impacting websites and companies across the country, really around the world. We're in 14 countries now, I believe. So it's been fun. This has been great. So again, yeah, increasing your commissions because of the travel insurance. Beyond that, we also have data, and data is another thing about converting and getting more people to book on your website, because you need to understand what people are actually looking at When are they looking to stay? How long are they looking to stay? Which properties are they looking at? How many times did they get price quotes on that property? So we have forward-looking demand analytics. These analytics on the back end also give you the ability to report to your property owners, to keep them informed, keep them in your sphere, if you will. You can use this data to capture more owners actually, because now you know where your marketing is and you can show new owners or potential owners that you're doing a great job marketing a particular segment in your market. Understanding what properties, when they're staying, when they're coming, sort the data in all sorts of different ways. It's very difficult for us to talk about data in a slideshow, but I've got some examples here that we'll go over just to show you some high level examples of what the data can do for you. We've got OTA price monitoring, and we can also tell you when the guests are most engaged on your website. So this is just a screenshot of one of the data points. We pulled this company, and again, you can pull the property down to the property name. So now, ABC owner calls up and says, "Hey, what have you done for me lately?" Well, you can go pull that property owner, look at the last 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, whatever you want to do, whatever the question may be, pull up their data, actually email them a spreadsheet of everything that's going on with your marketing. We're all hired to be marketers in the industry. That's essentially what we are. Is a marketing company that provides asset management, of course, but this allows you to actually prove to that owner that you're doing your job and that you need to, work with that owner needs to work with you. Oftentimes it's price. We all know how that conversation goes, but sometimes it can be like bedroom configuration or, the pink drapes and the purple carpet's not cutting it anymore, Miss Jones. We've got to get some upgrades going here because we're driving a lot of traffic, but people aren't buying what we're selling. So there's different ways you can use that to engage with your property owners, keep them informed, and keep them in your program. But the data that we collect every time the tool fires on your website, we slice it up 100 plus ways so that you can see what the engagement is on your website at any given time. Break it down by bedrooms, break it down by neighborhoods, even villa complexes or city centers if you happen to be in different city centers. And what this can do, you can also use this again for client acquisition. So if a client comes to you, say from a particular condo complex, you can go pull that condo complex, show how many thousands of quotes you've gotten over the years, time frame, and say, look, we only have a couple of units in here. We need more properties in here. This is why we need your property. So you can show yourself as an authority in the marketing realms of how you're driving people to that particular location to get them bookings. We show the engagement of time period over time period to see how you're trending up or trending down. Of course, seasons ebb and flow, but at least you know that you're getting more eyeballs, or you understand why you're getting less eyeballs on your website at any given time. Again, other ways we break this information down is we can slice the data up by arrival day, the arrival week, or arrival month. So right now I'm looking at my own inventory and looking at August. When are people looking to travel in August? What dates are they looking to arrive? How many nights are they looking to stay? And how many price quotes did I get for August? So now I can start to look to see if I need to adjust. In fact, I just did a little bit, adjust my nightly requirements for August. I pulled them back because that's not what the traveler is looking for. You can't sell it if they're not looking to buy it. If they're looking to stay 4 nights instead of 7 nights, give them 4 nights if that's the demand that you're seeing. So that in itself is going to help you with conversion and lift and revenue on your website as well. We also show you on the back end how many number of price quotes. We also do a comparative rate parity report to ensure that your distribution on the OTs is correct so that you're not underpricing yourself on the OTA market. And we'll also show you how your engagement is on your website on a daily basis. We'll even break it down to the day itself, and you can see, okay, it's interesting. Tuesdays at 10 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock in the morning seem to be the most popular on a lot of websites because people are at work shopping for their vacation. They're not doing it on Saturday and Sunday like most of us perceive people would be doing it. So that's an interesting fact. That would tell you if that's the case, then that's when you need to send your email marketing out or do your Facebook posts, social media posts, that kind of thing to engage with those clients, because that's when they're on your website. Another thing we just came up with is this particular report, and this shows you when you've had too many price quotes on a property. We evaluated when we hit 10,000 properties on our system. We've started to look and see where was the peak or the optimal point of conversion. And we figure if you're getting 10 price quotes for the same property, for the same arrival date, for the same length of stay, you may have a pricing problem. If you get over 20, you probably do have a pricing problem. So that's where we built this dashboard to show you that, look, in this particular case, and I took the properties out, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but 245 price quotes on this particular property. They sold it last year, same point in time. Last year, they sold it for $19,500 in February for a July arrival. That's solid lead time, probably a great rate at the time to get, they weren't discounting at that point. But why did they come out with it at $29,000 for the next year? They bumped that rate by $10,000 to the on their website. And as you can see, with 245 price quotes, it didn't sell. In fact, today it's down to $5,000 less than what they sold it for last year. So they made a pricing mistake. They made a mistake here. We're able to show them that, and hopefully help. In fact, we have helped a lot of companies capture this well ahead of time, so that when they see they're getting 30, 40, 50 price quotes for a particular property on those dates, and it's not converting, they can have meaningful conversations with their ownership, say, hey, we got to get this price back down. We sold it for 19 last year. We're trying to get 10,000 more this year. They ain't buying it. So we got to do something with that, right? We got to get back in line because the consumer's just not buying it. And so you now have this data on the back end to show you your engagement and when and what things are priced for, and really where the market is basically telling you to go, jump ship. We're not paying this. So this has been highly effective for our operators to get their pricing in line and to get conversion rate on their websites. So data on the back end is a big part of understanding what's going on with your business, improving your marketing metrics, improving your conversion rates, and understanding what the consumer wants within your company. And so that's not the only thing that you can do. In fact, we started out, the OTAs, they're a big marketing firm. That's all they are. They don't own a piece of property. All they do is market, and they spend billions doing it. And we thank them for that. I'm not throwing them under the bus. I think there's a value to their partnership in the industry. They bring a lot of knowledge or awareness to our industry. It has helped us all grow tremendously. Not here to throw them under the bus. I'm just here. There's things that you can do that you can drive anywhere from 500 to 700 direct links back to your property if you use them the right way. And that's 500 to 700 links per property. That can happen if you follow some of these basic things. So I'll cover this because a lot of people don't do this in their proper OTA setup. And one of them would be is if you have your street name, or if you have a dynamic name for your property, a brand name or something for your property. If you call this particular house the Dove Shack, then you would just put Dove Shack. Make sure the name of the property is not only on the OTAs, but it's also on your own website as well. Of course, name it there, name it on each OTA, so that people can get a familiarity with the property and understand what they need to go search for when they do try to find you off the OTAs.
A quick question.
Another thing you can do it. Yeah.
So with Airbnb, you only have 50 characters, which it isn't much. It gives you 8 to 10 words to try and sell someone on a property. So your description, and if I have Red Mountain Lodge for one of my properties, and that takes up most of the 50 characters, do you think that is more critical to have the name up there than 20-acre estate with billiards room or something like that?
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Okay. No doubt. That's valuable real estate. You need to utilize it with your property name, because people need to know that there's a name for it, and because people don't read anywhere else. So this is your top line, most read text of all. You absolutely need it in that header, so that you're dropping that notion in their mind that they're, and then, again, with these great question, and thank you. I do wholeheartedly agree that real estate is very valuable, and it should be used for your name of your property. Okay. Because when people Google the name of the property, it's going to come up, right? That particular property name at your location, it's going to bring up your website when that happens.
Yeah, I just think I've been hyper focused on getting the best perks of the description in those 50 characters, whether it's hot tubs or views or anything like that, to try and draw them in. But if it's the name and they can Google it and find us and book direct, then the proof is in the pudding.
It is, and honestly, people are going to see that heading, and you know, you could put a few tags in there, but really, what are people looking at first? They're looking at pictures. The number one thing people look at is pictures, and then they'll figure out if, you know, if the property's actually right. You know, they'll go look at all the pictures and say, okay, well, you know, does it have this or that that fits my needs for my vacation? But they're gonna visually scope the property out first, and being that this is the prime real estate, that's where you need to drop that name, because a lot of times they won't read the body of the text of any listing. As we all know, we get plenty of questions about that, you know, and it's sitting there in black and white, yet nobody reads it. Another thing you can do is scrape the background off of your logo, plop it onto your TVs, and so that every time they peruse through all the pictures, that's the first thing they do. They're going to see your logo on every single TV. Don't put phone numbers or URLs, just the logo. It's just a little subliminal messaging to Miss Jones, who's looking for her vacation place, you know, with, you know, on the platforms. In speaking of the name, again, is you do repeat it in the body, and you also put that you're professionally managed by your company. That is allowed, and you should put that in there, so that when people see that, and that's right at the top. Again, you'll lose people the further you go down into the depths of the property description, but put it right at the top. And then the last thing is always make sure you've got it, your logo, and then managed by, you know, your company, but also put a person's name. So many people will list these and say, you know, hosted by Jane Doe, and won't have a logo, won't have the company name, and yet Jane Doe has 100 properties, you know, that she manages. Well, they have no way of knowing to go find the company if it's not mentioned on the OTA. So you've got to make sure that your company name is well placed on these platforms. Any marketing platform that you can put it on, you should put it there. So those, again, doing these very simple things and matching them up to your website. Again, if I go Google 22 Dove Street, Forest Beach, Hilton Head Island, it's the number one results, right? You know, it's just the way Google works. And they're trying to deliver the right information to you so they can get, you know, help you with your business. Other benefits of increasing direct bookings. I was kind of blown away by some of these. Number one, in this, the industry average for conversion rate. What is a conversion rate? A lot of people don't understand this, and it's a huge metric. Is that the more people you send to, or the number of people that send to your site, how many reservations did you get? So you divide the number of reservations by the traffic. So you take 12 months of, say you did 600 reservations and you did 100,000, you know, traffic visitors. How many conversion, you know, what is your conversion rate? So what we're trying to answer here is my site actually converting? Am I getting the business out of the traffic that I'm sending? I'm doing all this social media, I'm, you know, doing PPC ads, I'm doing all this email marketing, but is my website working? That's the real question. That's what a conversion rate will tell you. And the industry average is about 0.32%. Larger operations that have bigger budgets and a lot to throw at it will get a better conversion rate because they're just simply bigger. They got more people involved. They got more direct marketing. They have the call to actions on the website to get people to convert. They have the reviews, and they have the brand recognition. So they get a little bit more of a lift. But everybody who's on average using the tools that we offer can even lift that up to 1.2%. We've seen as high as 2.1% with some of the larger operations as well, but we're averaging a 1.2% conversion rate. Now, instead of needing 300 people to get one reservation, you only need 85. That's how impactful that is. So if you can convert one for every 85, you're actually converting 3.5 for the number that you were converting. So you still run those people to your website and you just get more and more reservations. Hopefully you fill your calendars further in advance. You get more reservations per unit, that type of thing. But lifting your conversion rate is very important. Why send 300? Why send 299 people to your site for them not to book and to only get one when you can send 84 and get one? So keep that in mind. if you in your email marketing, there's call to actions, there's convincing propositions and things like this. We suggest people use our price comparison tool in their email marketing back to those people that booked on the OTAs. Again, being in the business for 15, 16 years before we built this stuff, we had these lovely people that would come to Hilton Head every year. Miss Jones would rebook every single year on VRBO. We try to tell them, why don't you just book direct? Well, I like VRBO. Well, okay, great. I'm glad you do. Well, as soon as we introduced this, she stopped booking on VRBO because she knows she was overpaying for her stay. And it's just the truth. It's just truth in advertising and marketing, and when you can save people money, they're going to come back and book direct with you. So these types of emails go out to my database after they've stayed with us, and we're remarketing to them, and we're increasing conversion rates on the email marketing. Typical emails open rate is about 42%. Average conversion rate in the industry is a 0.5%. If you do this type of marketing, you can jump that to 2.2% is what I'm averaging today in conversion with my email marketing. It's a massive lift in conversion on your marketing, your cheapest marketing that you've got, which is email. So that's impactful. That's, again, how you drive more direct bookings. Let's talk about free money. Everybody loves free money, right? If you can increase your direct bookings from that 30% to 60%, you don't have to do anything but let your money sit in the escrow account, interest-bearing account, and you're going to put $8,500 to your bottom line just because you're the owner of record. You're holding on to those funds versus someone else, and you just increased that revenue by that much for that same 100-unit company that was doing everything the same, but because they now have the reservations in their escrow account. And again, this is only using the industry average as far as the booking windows. I mean, we have people that book, 12 months out, and they, it's a $25,000 reservation where we're holding $10,000, $12,000 of their money for a year. That number is actually quite conservative. I think it's much greater than that, but we don't like to overpromise things. This is based on the national average of the length of stay, the booking window for direct bookings and the average value for, again, per reservation. So that's free money. You didn't do anything. It just hits your bottom line. What are some of the other benefits of direct bookings? You can reduce your marketing cost. Again, if you're raising that conversion rate, now you don't need 100,000 people hitting your website in order for you to get your 600 reservations, whatever the case may be. Maybe you can pull that back a little bit and save some money in your marketing, or you keep the marketing going and you try to get more bookings throughout the shoulder seasons and things like that. But there is an opportunity for reducing and making your marketing more efficient, certainly increasing the return on investment of your marketing dollars because you are lifting that conversion rate for sure. You're definitely going to reduce discounting because when people book further out, when they're booking closer to 80 days out, you are not discounting that property at that time. Typically, you may larger homes, that type of thing, you may be discounting it, but generally speaking, you probably don't start to get into the discounting bucket until you hit somewhere around 30 days, 21 days out. So when people are booking further out, you have less discounting that you're having to do in order to get those conversions. Increase in owner retention. If you have 65, 70%, 60+% really of your revenue is coming from your efforts directly from your website, you are now in control of the revenue for those properties and those property owners. They're going to think very deep and hard before they jump ship and go to some discount broker that's coming around the corner and trying to cut your commission in half and type thing. They're just not going to do it because now you are in control of that revenue. They take a very big risk in leaving your company. So it has a retention capability to it when you take control of your direct bookings. When you're only doing 29% direct, there's no love lost there. If somebody comes around the corner and says, "Hey, I'll save you 8% in commissions, just come work with us." He's like, "Okay, well, I can get that 20. They'll get me the 29%. 70% of it's coming from the OTAs anyway. I'll just go do that." So that is a big plus. Other direct benefits is now because these are your guests and they are reviewing your company, not someone else's company. We started this book direct process. Again, I was only at 23%. I didn't focus on my Google reviews. I think at the time we brought this product out, we started putting all these little nuggets together. I think I had 25 Google reviews on my company, and I'd been in business for 15 years, 16 years, and hadn't paid much attention to it. Now I'm inviting all these people that are booking direct to go to our Google page and review us on Google, so that now we are almost at a 5.0 and over 250 Google reviews. That increases brand trust, especially for the smaller operators. The larger companies obviously have done a lot of work, and they probably are on top of that game. But for smaller operators where there's a trust factor, this is a huge trust factor lift here when people start to research your company to make sure that they're making the right decision. Because when people, you're not buying a popsicle here. People are paying, $3,000-$4,000 for their trip. They want to make sure they're in good hands, and this is how you do it. Here's another thing that few people think about is, as a company, when they go to do that Google search and they find your brand and they actually convert on your website, that increases Google's algorithms in your favor. The SEO value of your company moves up the more reservations you're making, because Google sees that as a win to the consumer. Google is all about delivering what is the consumer looking for and willing to take actionable measures on those sites. So when you have action on your website, you have increasing conversion rates on your website, your SEO value goes up. So you're only lifting yourself up little by little every single reservation you get. Super cool thing to have is greater SEO value. So what does all this mean? If we broke it down, all these various aspects of things, I do think the travel insurance is a little light. It could be a lot more than that. But for 1 to 15 to 30% lifts, 30% lift in travel insurance is $5,800. Increase in escrow, $8,500. Reduction in discounting, 30 grand. Increase direct booking mix commissions, $150,000 is massive. So what is the total? If you got 30% lift in your company, it's $195,000 more to your bottom line, which would equal about a 54-to-1 ROI for using our products. But you got to implement everything in this case to bring it in and get people to convert on your website. So it's just very interesting. These numbers don't include increasing customer satisfaction, your lift in your brand, repeat business, owner retention, all these other factors. These are just the hard numbers that this brings to your business. Just to prove, I guess, a point and prove that what I'm talking about is actually true, we do have an API connection with Streamline, and others are in the pike. We took a company that was with us. This company has close to 400 units. We were able, this is for the last year, 12 months they were using our platform. We were able to increase their direct bookings by 51%. They didn't change anything. They're a decent sized company, already doing marketing stuff. We were able to increase their direct bookings by 51%. And by doing that, that increased their escrow accounts. Obviously, they made money off of that. Roughly 12 grand off of escrow accounts by booking 85 days out. They booked almost 20 days further out by booking direct. And we're helping them now to increase their repeat guests. It's up 22% year over year. So all these metrics, if you look at the total spend too, it's almost $3,000 versus $2,200 on the OTAs. That's just a massive difference in this company and their bottom line. Think about the increasing commissions from all this. I think it's an additional $660,000 is what we came up with in additional revenue. So, it's just a massive improvement to their business. Huge win for them. They've been completely happy with their program. And we see this through API connections with other Streamline clients that, these similar, if not greater returns using these products. So that's what I got.
All right. Any questions out there? I certainly have used direct booking tools. I probably maybe for a year now, or right around there.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we always encourage our guests to do is leave a Google review. I personally ask for it in a text, sign my own name, say I'm the owner of the company. I want your feedback. I want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. reach out and email
Right.
to me personally if you have any, issues, or if, anything we can improve on, and please leave a 5-star review. And honestly, we use it for owner retention. We can brag to our owners that we have, over 300 5-star reviews and like 4.9 on Google, and it's a win-win across the board. So lots of great ideas. You and I met yesterday behind the scenes, and you pointed out a few
Mm.
things on my website that I need to work on. So I sent a list.
It's
I sent a list to my staff.
it's not one thing, right? And it continues to evolve. I mean, that it's a business, so you got to work on it little by little, step by step, and it will continue to evolve. So hopefully, we're helping you achieve greater things.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. I love it. It was a big eye opener when you put that price comparison tool on your website. It's like, holy moly! You don't think about it every single day, and guests are just like, whatever, 10%. But when you put a dollar figure to 10% or 20% or whatever that 18 Airbnb is at 18% now, you put a dollar figure on that, and say a $5,000 reservation. Not all of our reservations are very big, and that's a lot of money. That's
It
that's
is.
that's an extra golf cart rental. That's an extra night stay, and so it
I,
makes a big
that's exactly what it is.
and it
Extra night stay, more spending. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
One thing I haven't done though is on, you called it the cart saver tool,
Hmm.
and how you said you can upsell and add insurance, or damage insurance or travel insurance or anything like that. Could I change that to rent a boat, rent a golf cart? Can I change that to whatever it would be to upsell, whether it's insurance or um, use something to enhance their stay?
As long as there's a radio button on your checkout page, yes. I mean, that's the short answer. The long answer is we'll get to more of those offerings down the road. But I mean, because travel insurance is pretty typical across the the spectrum of management companies, as long as there's a checkbox radio button for the travel insurance on your checkout page, if they click that button on the cart saver tool, it will translate into checking off that and actually reset the reservation to include the travel insurance. So we could take a look at that. If you already have preset, rent a golf cart for $400, add it to my thing. If that's a radio button on your checkout page, it could be done. Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, good information. It's nice to upsell
Or
things.
you could simply say, hey, use these savings for, hey, rent a golf cart. Contact us to let us know you want to rent a golf cart, and we'll get in touch with you. I mean, you can change that verbiage however you want it to be, whether it's golf carts, beach chairs, bikes, gear, whatever the case may be. Whatever your upsell you want to put in there, you can put in there. It doesn't necessarily have to be connected to your checkout page. It could just be an upsell statement, and you'll certainly see lift from that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions? We're happy to answer.
We do
Okay.
have a quick
No
question that
Q&A.
came through asking if this system is right for someone that has a direct booking percentage of 63. If they're at 63% direct bookings, would it still be worthwhile to work with you guys?
Great question. Yeah, you've done a great job so far in driving those direct bookings. We've taken companies from, we had a large company, had 450 properties that we took from 85% to 93%. So there will still be a lift in a conversion from where you're at today. So absolutely, to answer that on the short end, on the long end, is not only are you getting the lift in the conversion rates, but you're also getting all the data on the back end. And so if you're bringing all those people in and you want to see what that forward-looking demand is, and so that's going to help you massage your numbers, massage your marketing and spend and location and that kind of thing. So the data, that particular company was 450 units, didn't really buy it for the forward-facing tool, even though they got a 9% jump or an 8% jump in direct bookings. They bought it for the data analytics on the back end. And they have been extremely excited about that, because when you've got 450 units and they drive a massive number of people to their website, and for them to be able to see where the engagement is on their website and when people are looking to travel and how they can just adjust little nuances, whether it be one night stay up or down, and maybe it's up, that people are looking for 4 nights and they've got 3 nights in the off season, where they could actually push it up one night, and actually how does that flow into a 400 unit company as far as additional lift and revenue? They're super excited about the product. They've been on it for 18 months or so and absolutely love it. Yeah. Anything else?
Can I ask one more question if there isn't any other from
Absolutely.
the audience?
Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot nowadays, and actually I see it because I'm a chronic online shopper for clothes, is cart abandonment tools. And what it
Right.
looks like when you price something out and then you come back, and you either get an email or a pop-up or something that says, hey, don't forget, check out now. Um, do you see cart abandonment in the short-term rental sphere, and luring people back in to remind them to book that stay, or as being a critical component in the whole booking process?
We do actually. In fact, we just did a webinar last week with Switchback and Studio 82, and we're connected with Switchback, and through that connection, Switchback is an email marketing platform. That's all they do, and they do an excellent job at it. Is that we'll actually send them the data from the cart abandonment of Miss Jones looked at 123 Main Street for June 21st to the 28th of 2026. And these are the prices that she got when she abandoned the cart. They're going to send her an email with that property, a picture of that property, those dates, and those price quotes to Miss Jones to see what she left behind, to remind her. And they set the time. I think they send it out like an hour after she's abandoned the cart. And not only that, if she looked at 3 or 4 other properties, a day later, we'll send another email to that person. Miss Jones, maybe that 123 Main Street wasn't the right one for you. Try this one or this one or this one. You looked at these, come back and finish your booking. Huge, huge lift for companies that are instituting cart abandonment, follow up. Absolutely. Because to be truthful about, our industry again in buying our products is it's not a cheap buy. Like I said in the presentation was, when people are spending $3, $4, $5,000, it's not like they're buying, something that's disposable. That's a lot of money. And so a lot of people will go to the cart and say, okay, well, I know what the price is now. And with our cart, with our price comparison tool, we give them the full price. So that's helping reduce some of the cart abandonment as well. But people are checking the price. They still have the intent to book, but they didn't do it. They had to go talk to their wife, their husband, whatever the case may, family members, whatever the case may be. So by following up with that email, it shows, one, that you're truly engaged in what the client's doing on your website. And two, you're putting it back in front of them so that they don't get lost and they think, wow, where did I see that property? It was beautiful. It was perfect. You're just putting it back in their inbox so they can reach back out to you directly and book that property. So yeah, there's a huge lift in that scenario and reducing cart abandonment.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you. Good information. That's something else I need to
Absolutely.
implement. We have one more
Just
question.
another thing.
Just
Yes.
another thing on my list.
Yeah.
Can you track the amount being charged for pet fees for a vacation rental in this? Is there any data or analytics you can do? I see nightly rate and ADR and all that, but anything to do with other fees?
Well, we can culminate those fees into what we're displaying if that's what you're asking, and we can show that. And so, or we can eliminate. We've had a couple of scenarios where people said we want the pet fees included. Another scenario where we don't want the pet fees included because they aren't able to do pet fees on the OTAs in certain scenarios. So you want apples to apples. You want to make sure that you're telling somebody $4,500 on your site that it's 45, then it's $5,000 on VRBO, that or Airbnb, whichever one it may be, that it's the actual price they're going to see when they go to that OTA. These numbers are down to within the dollar, and it's always less than what you'll see on the OTAs, because we never want to give a misconception of anything. Again, we're not here to throw the OTAs under the bus, but it's just truth and showing people what those prices are. Yes, we can work with the pet fee and whether we allow it or disallow it, that kind of thing. Now, we're not necessarily tracking the pet fee, if you will. It's possible. It's possible.
Okay,
Yeah.
more software work for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been doing this for 2 years now. We're just getting started. We've got some great, exciting products coming up in the fall. We've got a lot of leg room to grow and advance, and we've come a long way. And we're making huge strides and huge impacts in what we do have developed, and we're we're excited as a team to see where we're headed.
Nice. Well, we've got more questions rolling in. Can I fire a couple more?
Okay.
Okay.
Absolutely.
When you're integrated with Airbnb and VRBO and pricing is sent from the property manager to the OTA, how do you
Mhm.
see a lower rate on your direct bookings?
Well, okay, so industry averages are that, everybody knows they're getting commissioned or feed by the OTA. So typically in your PMS system, you're going to take your $1,000 base rate and you're going to bump it by 3%, 5%, 10%, whatever the case may be to those OTAs, depending on the OTA and what they're charging to cover those costs. They are costs and it is what it is. Nobody's expecting you to eat 20% of Booking.com's commission because that's what they want, or 15%, whatever they're at today. So you'll bump your base rate up to those OTAs. Now, there will be times that say you're putting a brand new listing on Airbnb and they want to give, a discount for the first 3 reservations. We've all dealt with that, right? So when they go throw that discount in there, if you participate in that program, that's up to you, your prerogative, and you can do that. If it happens to come in at $900 where your rate's $1,000, then it will not show on the forward-facing tool on your website that Airbnb is $900. We'll just omit it, shrink the product down, and we'll never encourage anyone to leave our website to go book on an OTA because we don't know if it's a discount thing that you're doing or if there's a fat finger discount that somebody didn't quite plug in the information right. So we don't want to lead people away from your website for something that's a mistake on somebody's part. But we will report that on the back end and we will send you an email once a week and said, hey, again, 123 Main Street for July next year came in under. You might want to go check your distribution rates and make sure that your algorithms are set up properly so that you're not coming in under on the bookings you do receive from the OTAs.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Good information. I can see it on mine. I have a 10% markup on my end for Airbnb and VRBO, for instance, and then they mark up another 15 to 18%. So it's a very big jump. So the differences are huge
It is.
Yeah. I think we have a question from Jamie about upselling experiences when it pops up on the screen, because you had information about selling, I think it was insurance or damage insurance or travel insurance on there. Is there the ability to be able to upsell an experience or direct guests? I think this is kind of like what I was talking about earlier, like if I wanted to rent a golf cart to someone.
Yes.
Adding more, this is what you're saving. Now you can, book your experiences or all the fun stuff with the money you're saving. So there's got to be
Absolutely.
integrate that and market that to people.
Yeah. So you can, again, that piece, you can stylize it however you want. So, the number is going to come in at the number because we're actually calculating that for that reservation. And you certainly want to rebrand your name again while they're on there. That my suggestion. But the next paragraph, you can go, hey, look, we have, vacay gear, or we have, whatever the case may be, whatever your experience thing may be that you want to, hey, look, you're saving $400. Why not buy, beach gear, with us? We're happy to rent you this, or take a horse ride, or take a, get ski lift tickets, whatever the case may be that you're selling as ancillary items. Unfortunately, it sounds like baby gear is getting scarfed up by one of the OTAs. I don't know if anybody saw that this week. That they're going to start offering baby gear to their clients. Good for them for the partnership, not good for us as far as upselling product to our guests. But if that's the case, you can add that in there. Take the $400, buy, the widget, whatever it is you're selling, and whether it actually dynamically goes into the booking is another thing, because it has to be a radio button on your page that has that product on there or service on there, that if they click the button, we can attach it to that radio button. But if it's not, you still use the terminology to entice them to book that with you, because they are saving money, and they will do it. They will spend more money with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All righty. Is there any more questions? If not, we can wrap this up and say thank you so much, Chris, for all your information. I really appreciate it. We can forward, Chris, do you have an email address or anything that it can go into for more people looking to inquire more details about what we talked about today?
Yeah, find us on directbookingtools.com. Of course, anybody can reach out to me directly, Chris, at it's actually bookinginsights.com. That's our parent company. That's the tech company that's a parent company of Direct Booking Tools. But just go to directbookingtools.com, check out the things, look at, there's even an ROI calculator and things on there. Tons of content that we're building out. I've got a 10-part series coming out on LinkedIn right now about what we just talked about, showing those numbers and the impact in the industry. We're here to help you out. Happy to help you out. That it takes one thing we didn't talk about it for our product. It takes literally about 15 minutes of your time as a property manager to install. I don't know if you remember back when we onboarded you, it was literally you had to get us 2 pieces of information. We built the product, then you had to drop it into your website and you were done. So it's not a big lift on PM side. I know everybody's stretched, everybody's under the gun today, you know, going in 50 different directions. This is not one of those products that's, you know, like something like changing your PMS system that you want to shoot yourself doing because it's so hard to do. This is super easy, super easy.
It was easy, and I take the
Yeah.
path of least resistance most of the time. So yeah, thank you.
There you go.
I appreciate
super
that
easy.
part.
Yeah. And it's a 30-day free trial. So, you know, what, no harm, no foul if you don't like it after 30 days. But I think we've got a 97.5% flow through rate on it. It's just people are loving what we're doing because it's having a real impact. So we'd love to talk to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. There will be a replay emailed out to you within 48 hours, and you can always visit vrnation.com for more information too. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.